Welcome back, ladies and gents. It's going to be our final best of three here on the B stream of the Corsair Dallas DreamHack Masters. I'm Vince, again joined by Dust. It's been a marathon. It's going to be bittersweet, but G2 and Renegades will be our featured final two teams. The winner makes the playoffs. The loser goes home. Dust, first off, are you still alive? Secondly, if you are, how is it going?
Going pretty good. This is another rematch, by the way, Vince. It was G2 versus Renegades in the upper bracket, and it was an overtime game that G2 won on Train. Renegades made a hell of a comeback in that game, but wound up falling short in the extra round, so they had to come down and battle out Easterus and Fnatic, actually. That was the big win that they got earlier today. Very good for them to get that. Meanwhile, for G2, they had a close loss to Ints in the upper bracket semifinals. Dropped down here and beat NRG, and that's how they found themselves here. We are on Inferno. This was indeed the map pick of Renegades. G2 picked Dust 2. Shocker.
Imagine my surprise.
They're very strong on Dust 2. 11-3 record, so
Yeah.
I can't blame G2 for doing that, or at least 11-3 coming into this tournament. Inferno, though, is also a pretty good map for G2. Outside of like Nuke and Dust 2, I think it's one of the maps they've had some of their more impressive results on at times. So even had a couple of wins over Fnatic on that map, who were quite strong at earlier this year. So yeah, I'm not sure how this will go, to be honest.
I'm alongside with you. We are just about to head live into the first round. I do actually think this is a coin flip match. I always find it difficult to fully believe in G2 because they broke my heart so many times in the past. So yeah, exactly. It's been the same, hasn't it? But there is also a chance here of Vitality progressing. We could have 2 French teams in the playoffs and no Swedish teams.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it, Vince?
Quite a surprise. Jacob, though, is waiting on Banana. Even trade. Let's go back to the site. Will Lucky and also Shocks. And it was Shocks and Kenny S that proved to be the determining factor. Obviously, we didn't cast it ourselves, Dust, because we were busy with another best of 3. But by all accounts, they absolutely popped off. And it was like the Kenny S and Shocks of old. So maybe we'll get a chance to see that for ourselves. There's the smokes now. Going to be barreling their way onto the B site. Molotovs alongside it. Want a molly off New Box. It does allow them to focus their attention elsewhere, but Shocks is putting those bullets down range and landing headshots across the board. What a hold that is by G2. You thought there was maybe a chance for Renegades to get on, but absolutely shut down.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that in this tournament, a couple of these G2 players are playing really, really well. Shocks at plus 37 in the event so far. Amanek plus 16. Kenny S also had himself a hell of a last best of 3 earlier on in the lower brackets. So basically, you're getting exactly what you want out of G2. All of your stars are shining coming into this best of 3 against Renegades. For Renegades, it's really been the JKS and Liaz show. They have been so impressive. Particularly Liaz has been a surprising one. Really stepped up this tournament. I've been really impressed with this play. Obviously, they have a couple of their heavy hitters and their entry fraggers of Jacob and Azza, who, once they get rifles, are going to have to really start driving this thing home. They want to defend their home turf of Inferno.
I have to come out with a bang here in the second round, though, with this force bite. You have a assortment of pistols. The Eagles, CZs, P250, Kenny S. Going to be landing that first dink, and it's a massacre. It's a straight down 3 with the MP5. Money in the bank towards his AWP. Renegades have picked it up for themselves, though. And they do have armor to play with, and also time, and they have the bomb. So, Dust, if we were looking at the parameters for a potential 2v4 clutch, or a 2v5 clutch it would be, I'd say this ticks a lot of the boxes.
Definitely some hope with Azza having the MP5 and having control of CT spawn. The thing is, now that Lucky has pushed out to middle, this means Shocks can focus his attention back. He knows it's possible they could be coming through CT spawn to the B-bomb site. They've cleared out basically everything else. Even Lucky's beginning to double back to the B-bomb site, so the chances of breaking through this will be so difficult. As long as Shocks can just stay alive, he's going to hear these smokes coming in. He knows what's up now. Now he just needs to hold an angle and buy time, or perhaps just get the frags pull out on his own. He's lined up one, doesn't get the second, but now there's no time to plant the bomb. There was a slight threat being posed, but it was dealt with swiftly, and G2 now up 2-0. As you noted, Kenny S got plenty of kills that round, so gonna be able to get the AWP right away. Actually decides to go for an SMG again, realizing Renegades is gonna likely not have much into this. He wants to farm more cash if he can.
Right. Plus, it was that if he went for the AWP, he wouldn't have armor, or he'd have headless armor, and against pistols, that actually could play into the favor of Renegades. So, if you know they're not going to have a buy of any kind of description, having an MP9 actually makes a lot more sense. It allows him to go through aggressively like this, put more money in his back pocket, and he'll be good to go. They actually didn't save the M4 that was dropped from Shocks last round on Coffin, so they're having to replenish a little bit deeper than they'd have liked to. So if Renegades can get a couple of kills here with pistols, it could be one of those circumstances that will catch up with G2 somewhere down the line. Maybe not the next round, but I'm talking 2 or 3 in the future. That's if they can take some casualties, though, of course.
Remember, it was Renegades earlier today who just smashed Fnatic on Inferno, but it was mostly off the back of having just a super massive C side of the first half. They didn't have to do much work on the T side. Here they start, so they must find something on the attack. Trying to break through on middle, but so far it's going about as you'd expect given their equipment value. Run through the blender. At top mid, Kenny S another 3 kills, just more SMG farming. He's up to near $7,000 already. How long does he want to hold on to that, though? How long does Alnek want to keep a shotgun? Looks like they're going to roll it over into this next round, so you might see something more aggressive towards the apartments, as that is probably the best use of those weapons. They actually have a 4-man stack towards A early. Maybe they're going to nade stack and push down middle or something like that? They do throw the nades, but they don't push with them, and no damage is really dealt to their opponents.
I'm not sure I like this play. I understand if they kept one MP9, but I feel like Kenny probably should be picking up the AWP here. I mean, you know that they're going to have full head armor. Terrorists are always going to have full head armor in buy rounds. The MP9 is going to have to be played up close, and they're always going to be second favorite in those close-knit encounters anyway against the AKs.
Now Lucky's in so much trouble. He's got no rotation happening. Shock's finally moving that way with Amanek, but he's going to have to hold on so long by himself against a swarming Renegades team. He's gotten one. He's staying alive. He's staying in the core. He steps down. He almost gets another. Not quite. At least he's bought a little bit of extra time.
Molotov on towards the garden. There are some nades thrown in retaliation by G2, but nothing's really sticking. Incendiary from Shocks. A few flashbangs and a smoke. Of course, I have the kits as well, but there are still smokes being deployed from Renegades as well. Here comes the spray from Kenny S. We'll get a clean kill onto Azza. He can move through garden and pick up that AK-47. XM charges straight through, claims the head of Liaz. Jacob at the back of the site needs to set up a crossfire. And actually, he kills Jacob. It's not worked out quite as planned, but I think they're going to get it done anyway. Kenny S can't get the bomb defused. He's going to die with the explosion. And Renegades will get their first round on the board.
That's one of those unfortunate TKs you can't even really blame him for. Like, you clearly see he's trying to line up the shot, trying to save his teammate in the back corner, but just happens to catch him instead. So finally, Renegades do punch one in. They get lucky on a very vulnerable B-bomb site, but now it's back to the Vise. Kenny S will have the AWP. Funnily enough, though, Lucky goes for an MP9 again. Guess this one to prioritize utility and head armor, so it's not able to afford a rifle. Again, Renegades not going to play default. Usually you're going to see guys like, you know, Jacob, or I guess more like Azza working B, but they're actually just focusing up more towards Boiler and mid right away. JKS, of course, as hard as he usually would be.
Originally, G2 actually had 3 players over on the B side, then rotated 2 of them across now. Amanek in quad. Gonna get 1 kill, but that's as far as his streak will go. As Faction tagged up by Shocks, and a grenade that he tossed out finishes him off. So doing good damage on the approach, but Renegades still will get a bomb plant in their favor. With 3 players Arch and a 4th in the form of Lucky coming up mid, they do have options. They could even go into apps, which is where Azra is currently residing. At the backside with the UMP, close range, gonna get both of them. A huge passage of play for Azza. May not be able to get out of there due to Kenny S. But with his damage and the amount of time that he's stalled, that could be good enough. And indeed it will be. They're backing away. Renegade's going to double up their rounds.
Good angle there from Azza. Normally, if there's going to be someone in the apartments, you're going to expect them to be on the stairwell or in the boiler doorway itself. But that time, Azza was on the balcony almost. So a lot more of a passive angle on that approach up the stairwell. Definitely catches G2 off guard. They can't even trade him 1-for-1. He gets 2. That pretty much kills it. Any hope of retaking. So they just back off. They save their 2 weapons. Kenny S will still have the op. Og for Jax. Everyone else, though, is going to be pretty slim on what they're able to work with. Just a couple of deagles.
Gonna slow start Gratisfaction. He's 005. We're expecting that to change sooner rather than later. On the T side, of course, AWPers do often struggle a little bit. There's not as many opportunities available. On the CT, you're expecting him to really start to take over. That's another power play they have up their sleeve.
Finally, some default from Renegades. Liaz, that normal B player, getting control. He has to fight against Kenny S, though. He's actually forced them off the angle. That's a small victory for Renegades, at least to be able to establish some map control and deny Kenny S any impact early. Kenny S trying to just stick around. He's taking some nade damage, but he wants to keep his feet firmly planted at top B and get a kill before he exits away. But finally, he just keeps getting forced further and further back. Now he doesn't have the angle anymore for information. Just guarding the site. Starting to get some assistance from Shox in just a moment, who is in spawn now. So is Lucky. In fact, a lot of drifting from G2 towards that arc side of middle. That's left A quite vulnerable, and Renegades might catch a great timing here as they do control top middle, and everyone from G2 is basically shuffling to B. All except Amanek.
Maybe about to play bodyguard for Kenny S's AWP. Amanek, try as he might, was no match for Gratisfaction and the rest of the Renegades boys pushing up arches. And yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do. They just want to save the AWP and the AUG. Bodyguard that for the next round. Don't even bother attempting it. It often happens on Inferno as well, because both sites are hard to retake. You can get caught very easily. Utility is such a massive, pivotal part of this map that giving away weapons when it's needless, it's not really worthwhile. So you probably are going to see a lot of saves in the duration of this next 30 or so rounds.
People will probably wonder why they rotated so hard. You kind of have to gamble in a round like this when you have such limited resources. Any chance of victory really relies on being able to stack something, get the right push, get the right up close corner that doesn't get cleared. Something gimmicky must go your way. And it just, they tried after the pressure that Kenny was feeling at B just to kind of head over there in case it was going to be a B execute. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't. Renegades kind of felt out the round nicely, find the gaps, and they'll tie up the game 3-all. They retain all 5 of their AK-47s as well, so that's going to help their economy big time. Just got to replenish the utility. And obviously, Renegades is a team that is very capable of just playing out the default map control style of Inferno, kind of the same as really everyone. There's not really anyone reinventing the wheel on Inferno, to be honest. They do have a couple of cool executes they can throw in when they need to change the pace, but really what we saw from the Major Ford is just them really establishing their roles nicely and getting that team play, getting that chemistry together. Now that they have Gratisfaction back, the full lineups here. Expect big things.
Flashing to Lucky, actually pushing through, and does get the kill into Gratisfaction. Jacob completely baited out from the player that pushed Boiler. Was not anticipating the second, so on a fairly rough fight. Just a few pistols added to the same guns. G2 gonna get it done in style. It's only Lucky that perishes. That's a big boom to their economy.
Indeed it is. Now I wonder, is Shox gonna want to do a second AWP over at the B bomb site? Lucky could buy it for him and he could pass over the AK, but no, they'll go for rifles. But certainly be on the lookout for Shox to get a second op at some point this half, most likely. And that was really just a case of Renegades dealing with too much chaos at once. They were getting pushed in apartments and up and in at the same time. Lucky got a kill. Jacob goes down at Boiler. It was just so much stressing out Renegades in that round. They're going to try to go for something faster paced at B, but taking a lot of damage along the way. So much utility damage just chipped at them.
Charging over a minefield dust, and they got blown to smithereens. Liaz down to 50. Gratisfaction takes 25 damage. No bullets really fired in the process. Oh no. This could be a timing push. Shox is moving away from B. It's all unlucky. I think he's just realized, hold on a second, why am I moving over here? My teammate needs my help, and now the grenades are going to start to fire in. Last time Lucky was in this identical spot, and he did get a kill. This time he's basically alone. Shots, though, alongside these flashbangs and Molly being tossed in from Kenny Ed, can get close enough to make a real nuisance of himself.
Whoa!
Kenny's burnt too! Alongside the flashbangs and the damage that's been exchanged, and now Gratisfaction has to try and somehow salvage an untenable round. He's got time and he's got the bomb, but no grenades. He's hoping someone just peeks in to give him that first kill.
And he's done for. I don't even know how Kenny S got those 2 kills. That was actually what really killed the round. Like, it was still really much up in the air until all of a sudden you see the kill feed and Kenny S from the Flames gets 2. I don't know if they were just super blind and stuck in fire at pool or something like that and didn't realize they were in the fire. I mean, because they had Lucky box out at dark. Shox is still stuck behind the smoke at coffins. They should have felt comfortable walking into the site. They shouldn't have been getting melted by utility like that. So it makes me wonder if they were just really blind or something. But now G2 up 5-3 and nothing for Renegades to work with. It should be a 6th round coming for the Frenchmen here very soon. Have to take a look at that and see.
There's definitely quite a few flashbangs tossed in there, Dust. I think that is the most likely outcome of how they burn to a crisp. Lucky boosted up on the wall against the armorless Gratisfaction. The rest of his team are just as bad, just as vulnerable. Nia shows his head one too many times, and Azza may trade out pistols, but it's going to be the same result more than likely. Shock stepping up, padding his stats, 4 bullets left. Not required. Lucky's there to help him out.
Dominant rounds here from G2. In the bulk of their victories, they have only lost 1 player at most. They have had a couple of rounds where they survive with all 5. So when they do win, they win in heavy fashion, and that's what's been the case the last 3 rounds for certain. Renegades still able to get a full buyback up into this one, though Gratisfaction still without an AWP on a Galil. But again, as we already kind of discussed, this is a map where T-side opping isn't necessarily required. Wide themselves can do just fine. Lias being held off of controlling Banana here. His normal spot's been denied. He'll swing over towards alt mid, gather up. They're going to go for something faster pace at A. They have a cool little smoke wall they can throw on Pit to sneak JKS in. So that may be what they're thinking of lining up here. Trying to see if they can't load up apartments and flood out and just overwhelm Amanek and Jax over on lane.
The Renegades are about to pull the trigger on their execute. Azza lining up the flashbang. Jacob goes out prematurely, but still, Gratisfaction and Jacob gonna chime together for 2. Gets neutralized instantly. Did get a kill along the way. Kenny S gonna be the last player to filter through, but there is a smoke in his eyes. He needs his teammates to help him out to try and thin the herd. Shots can see barrels of guns protruding over the edge of balcony. Kenny S also comes in with a big kill. And an opportune moment flicking across as he sees the arm of Gratisfaction around the corner and converts into another round for G2. That's now 4 in a row.
And they did do that Pit smoke wall that I was talking about to sneak in. The problem is once they got in Pit, they could never get out. G2 used some good utility to hold them in place, get their rotations in, and then frag them out before they could ever get back into the bomb sites. Worth noting, Shox and KDS, who had a massive series earlier to find themselves here, are doing the same thing against Renegades. They both have 12 kills and 10 rounds played. So they are absolutely dominating the server. I mean, hell, there's 14 kills between the entirety of Renegades. Shox and Kenny S almost have that match by themselves, each individually.
Not too much to play with for Renegades again, just a couple of smokes. It does seem like they're just going back to the same old strat. Really adapting. I mean, in this round, you can't really blame them, Dust. They've only got pistols. Right. But I'm going to be very curious to see how they engage when they do have rifles in the next round. I want to see something different. I want to see something that makes G2 have to think about how they react and how they adapt to it. The grenade damage is so ridiculous. Double nades into mid. This is, of course, the downside about hanging in mid for too long. Shocks with one, anticipating the flashbang. He plays it perfectly, but the jumping CZ will put an end to his life. Now Azza and JKS going to try and make a beeline to the B site through CT spawn.
That was so crafty from Shocks to go closet. They would have certainly expected him to go fall back towards Moto. Gets an extra kill out of it. Now Lucky will just finish the job from construction. That's 8-3 for G2. They are dominating, Vince. They're 5 rounds in a row now. Only one of the 5 rounds have they lost more than one player. So their money is really building up substantially. You can see a couple of these guys, even after fully buying up, still have 5-digit money counts. And Lucky's not too far away, just south of 10,000. Pretty much able to buy out for the rest of the half at this point, especially if things keep up like this. And the adjustment from Renegades, I'm not really sure what it's going to be. I feel like they need to be able to establish banana control a bit better with Liaz. That's normally the guy who's going to be attacking that. He's had a great tournament so far. He needs to be there. Usually he's being assisted by Azza and Gratisfaction, so hopefully they can work together to make something happen there. I feel like that's the spot they keep getting shut off at. They keep getting funneled to A, and there's already 4 players waiting for them at that point. So they need to open that area up just to at least make G2 respected as a threat and not be able to over-rotate.
That's the thing. First off, Gratisfaction hasn't really had many opportunities with the AWP, if any. And additionally, between him and JKS, there's 2 kills. They're both on 1 frag each. Their ADR are 33 and 30. These are 2 of their big-time players. They're star players that you need at the top of the scoreboard, not rock bottom.
I mean, JKS came into the tournament today, the number 3 rated player in the tournament behind Twist, who was number 2. So, definitely a tough one. Or he was certainly up there, at least.
Double stacking apps on both sides, but it's going to be G2 that come out ahead. And considerably so. A 2-for-0 trade. Amanek Shiki catches Azza in the back, but Gratisfaction and Liaz going to give G2 something to ponder over. Still, just shy of a minute to play with. They're going to start to force and impose their will on Jax, who's already low. Does get finished off. Lucky has been spotted. There's no doubt that Liaz saw him just as he dropped down. Molotov planted, not great, to be fair. I think he was trying to get that into short as opposed to on the site. But the idea is still the same, and it has still worked out. It does stall the push of the short player. Gratisfaction, we mentioned he's had a quiet game. This would be a big moment for him to shine. And they're up against Shocks, a legendary Counter-Strike player throughout the ages. Gratisfaction only with 3 bullets remaining in his magazine. And Shocks is going to stay there on short to see if he can try and pick off these 2 remaining terrorists. And with the last bullet off the magazine, Gratisfaction picks up his 3K.
Finally on the board. He only had 1 kill before that in the last 12 rounds, so it's good to see him come alive, as you noted. Finally, they put an end to the G2 esports winning streak. But you have to feel like they're going to need a lot more than that. G2 have been so strong. We haven't seen much. Gratisfaction finally has AWP. I think it's the first time this half he's had it. What can he do? He's looking to go towards B to challenge. Shocks and Lucky, though, using utility to try to hold him back. Lucky actually going to take a peek off of that flash. No one there to greet him. Nade out now as well. Minimal damage dealt, and he is forced to fall back. So finally, Renegades established some banana control. Have not really been able to do that the bulk of this game. That finally opens up more doors, more options to choose from.
That's what Renegades need. They need more avenues to play into. As is tagging his teammate in the back, there's a flash that doesn't quite connect properly. It's all looking a little bit odd. Jax, though, gonna get pummeled out. Lucky, holding on. Doesn't need any backup. He's a one-man wrecking crew. Kenny S peeking into apps. Does connect the shot, but JKS still alive. Must have been legged. Also returns fire into Kenny S. Puts him down to 14. So an even trade. With Renegades electing to go for this site. Kenny S is by himself. His teammate, the shot's backed away. He moved into arches. This gives up A control now. The bomb's still not quite across to the site. Now going to get there through Azza.
Will they expect Shocks this fast, though, Vince? I mean, he is getting up lane real quick. The distraction at Moto from Lucky could buy him time to slip in as well.
Azza making Flashbang off, takes a tink from Lucky, who's just wild spraying through the smoke. JKS could be the linchpin. They've got Jacob as a bit of reinforcement on the site. But it's about this crossfire. JKS is going to try and keep them at bay. Now Jacob can strike. Now his position's known. And he's finishing off all the weakened Frenchmen. Jacob on 1 HP with the 4K. And Renegade's going to pull us one step closer at 8 and 5.
That was so down to the wire, though. Amanek nearly won that. Like you noted, Jacob just down to 1 health when it was all said and done. So that was not the easy round Renegades were hoping for. They hoped to really seal that one up in a more neat fashion after they were able to deal with Kenny S on the site. They had it to themselves from that point, but Shocks and company almost pulled it back. Still, though, when it's all said and done, 2 in a row now for Renegades. Still have a chance to make a good half out of this. They can win out and still be in decent position. Again, the war wages at Banana. This time Az is also involved in it. Realizing they need a little bit of added firepower as they've had struggles controlling Banana for the majority of the half. They will be able to claim it. Lucky still lingering around, though. Shocks might even be able to pop flash him to help him peek, and indeed he will, but Lucky also gets blinded.
And frag. Afterwards, leaving Shock alone on B. There is a fast maneuver from G2 with Jax trying to get down mid. Not checking apps whatsoever. That is a bit of a confusing play, and it does mean that now Kenny S has to stay on A site while his teammates are getting picked off one by one by Gratisfaction. He's definitely woken up now. A slow start, but he's here. They have had a long day. It has to be mentioned that both these teams have been around since the early game of today, so they have played a lot of Counter-Strike so far. Kenny S gonna land one, not able to stop the bomb from being planted, but does give them a glimmer of hope. G2 gonna push in behind this. Their economy's not great. There is still gonna be one more round after this one to play. Molotov in for Amanek, forces him out into the open. Beautifully played. Masterfully manipulating Amanek into his demise. And now Kenny S just has to save. So Renegades, all credit to them. It was looking real bad at 8-3, but now they're going to be just behind at 8-6.
Yeah, I feel like Amanek really should have just drawn back after that Molotov rather than pushing forward. Basically just gave his gun away, and the economy is quite low for G2, so unless you were going to commit with Kenny S and really go for that, you needed to save that gun. Yeah, they're starting to approach a decent loss bonus, but still, it's just really low funds. And now Kenny S might not even save this AWP. He's getting boxed in from all sides, and indeed he also falls. Why, oh why are you not saving your guns better, G2? They also just seem to be, anytime there's any little pressure, they just over-rotate massively on the G2 side. They are just, you can see it time and time again how quickly they're just pivoting through CT spawn. As soon as like even one grenade goes off, it feels like. So I feel as though Renegades are really getting settled into the half now. Obviously, it's almost over, but they're finding the really key rounds in the home stretch, and they're really forcing G2 to scramble a lot. Now you see it's the final round. It's just going to be SMGs of FAMAS on Kenny S. This is the consequences they must suffer. They didn't back off and save those 2 guns.
Yeah, Amanek's death really is two-dimensional. Not only does it mean he doesn't save his rifle, but it means he can't bolster up Kenny S's survival either. You see, Kenny S was just swarmed around from all angles. He needed Amanek to still be alive with him. As a result, 2 MP9s, UMP CZs. Not a huge amount of firepower. Lots of grenades, though. And a 4-player stack on B, at least to start off with, to try and repel a potential rush from Renegades, which they realize is not forthcoming, so they send Amanek and Jax back over on the A side.
Yeah, good little maneuver. It also wasn't too risky. They were able to quickly get back. They're using some great incendiaries here. It's really forcing Renegades to spend more utility and more effort to get control of Banana. Lucky challenging with the MP9. Again, making his presence known, continuing to get Renegades bogged down. Jacob still has some control of apartment, so options are still open for Renegades, but it feels like B's really their focus. The difference is Lucky has a new angle at Oranges that they haven't really had to deal with yet, so he could certainly catch them off guard.
Once that clears, Renegades will still have enough time to make decisions. But it does seem to me that it's already been made. It's going to be the B site. There's another smoke. If they want to take this, it's going to have to be up close and personal with a myriad and a plethora of grenades preceding them. They are about to initiate and commence the hit. 2 players up close with SMGs. Shock's turning his back, anticipating the flashbangs. They're all lining up for him. He wishes and prays he had the M4, but Jax doesn't require one. His MP9 goes to town. Is there enough time? Just about for JKS, but he could get pushed from CT. He's still alive, still swinging, but KennyS puts him down. Shocks and Jax dig them out of a very deep ditch that G2 were buried in and get them a 9-6 lead going into the second half.
It wasn't pretty. It was by the skin of their teeth, but it got done. 9 rounds for G2. They fit one more in at the end as we transition sides, but we're also going to transition into a break, so we'll be back shortly to bring you the rest of this match. Stay tuned.
Well, here we go. Inferno, first map of the best of 3, second half. G2 and Renegades duking it out to see which of these 2 teams will be at the playoffs and which will be on the next flight home. Renegades now on the CT side. They did mount a bit of a comeback towards the end of that half, but still trailed by the 3 rounds. Shocks take some damage from Azza. Mid-flight round the corner with his USP.
It's worth remembering that Renegades had a monster CT side against Fnatic earlier today. Jacob and JKS were just destroying any attempts at attacking B. The rest of the team was playing just fine as well. We're going to see G2 going for a bit of a massive push out the apartments. They have a couple of flashes from Shocks and Lucky to help them get out.
And here we have it. The flashes are connecting. It's going to force one of the CTs away, allowing him to focus on Liaz. He's been very good over the duration of the Masters, but not going to be good enough to hold by himself. A monumental task, a gargantuan effort would have been required. But with the kill, does at least get it down to a 4-on-4 retake. They don't currently possess a kit or any grenades other than a decoy. This actually is looking quite rough for Renegades, all things considered. There's good positions being assumed by G2. They've even got Shocks around the back in apps. KennyS on the box just goes ham with his Glock. And Azza can only get the one. Shocks patiently waits for the head to line up with his pistol, pulls the trigger. G2 second pistol round going their way.
They had a 3-0 start the last time around. Will they match it? If so, they will double their lead from where they were at the end of the first half. Mac 10s aplenty here. 4 of them, in fact, with Mac 10s. A lot of head armor, though, on the Renegade side, so it won't be as effective as it could be, but still certainly packs a punch. Looking to do something fast, I'd imagine, with this many SMGs, and obviously they're known to be a very aggressive team.
Already taking fairly aggressive stances in apps are G2, wanting to stamp their authority early on. Want to cover out Renegades. I mean, in these kind of rounds where pistols are going to be prevalent, apps can be a nightmare for terrorists. They're not going to be playing this slow either. They're going straight in. Amanek fixing his aim mid-air. Exactly. Using Liaz as a Goomba. And now Jacob and JKS on the B site. Gonna try and save.
Epically failed at trying to make the noise Mario makes when he stomps a Goomba.
Try again.
No. That's not.
Failed me for the last time.
What's that?
Failed me for the last time.
Duo already did. Lasted 2 events. Rest in peace. May 2019 to May 2019.
Looks like they should be able to save. I don't think G2 really want to send too many guns in here. So be happy enough to keep 4 Mac 10s and an AK. Can use them as expendable weapons in the next round. And it's kind of similar to how they started the first half, thus, where they can keep the SMGs as long as they die. And they'll be pretty happy with that, as long as they get some trades in amongst it all.
This is just where you, if you're G2, you're just looking to print as much money as you can with these Mac 10s. This is where they should be even more effective. There's very little head armor still out there. mostly USPs. This should be just a cleanup. Would be very surprised if Renegades got more than a couple of kills in this round. Well, they're halfway there.
Oh, that nade, the touchdown landed in his pocket. He was already tagged up by shots. Lucky will finalize with the nade. 2 players still at top of Banana. No investment from Gratisfaction, so we can get an AWP earlier, of course. Did take him quite a while in the first half, Dust, for Gratisfaction to actually get any kills or an AWP in play.
True. I would imagine it'd be different here on the CT side.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Definitely should have the money for it right away, now that they've full saved here. Will he get a Zeus kill? That's my question. He's hiding out over towards balcony. I don't think anyone's actually going to run into him, though, unless he's able to sneak down through boiler or something like that, but Gratisfaction was trying to. He wants to bait for him and pop some shots off from Graveyard if anyone were to come out the balcony, but again, all the focus is Lucky at B, and then everyone else top middle. Well, Lucky doesn't realize that JKS snuck back in. Could be a problem.
It does mean that Renegades can now stay in position on the likes of Library, Pit, etc. Jack's now going to find him. Well, Liaz doesn't get a Zeus kill, but will get a USP.
He still could if they push him.
Rip the dream. Still 2 players left. Mach 10, ideal in this confrontation, but a lot of better than the USP. Oh, what a flick from Kenny S. Flicked him out his boot. Get wrecked.
Are you going to eat the boot that got left behind?
Mate, I don't think there's anything left. His body just got burnt. It was that hot. That flick was so disgusting. I mean, we know there's, you know, from the French scene, he's actually Belgian, but Scream, they talk about his one taps. Well, Kenny S may have something to say about that.
Him and Shock have just been the Bash brothers of this game, both at 18 kills. But now, finally, Renegades off to the full buy, and so G2 are going to have to try a bit harder to get rounds. One thing you'll notice now, and it's been the case for a couple of months, is with Ominek coming on board, Shox is a lot more of an entry fragger, working with Jax. Usually Lucky playing B, Ominek in the apartments. That's been some role change that have happened for G2 with this addition of Ominek. And indeed, you do see Lucky kind of soloing towards B, eating a lot of utility damage, though, and going to get pushed down by JKS, and he's able to win that fight, but Jay comes for the follow-up. It's an even trade. Lucky can be happy with that, I think, given his situation he got put in, but Gratisfaction finds Ominek in the apartments with the extremities being controlled by the Renegades.
Kenny S gonna be lobbing the Molotov. Sorry, I got kind of disjointed. Apparently, they didn't even see the flick on stream.
Well,
you hate to see it.
So
we just got massively hype about a play that no one saw.
T-Tours.
So you could just make stuff up. Just say that someone got like the nuttiest couple of frags, and it was actually just standard stuff.
Let's just friends go.
Yeah, it's not doing the people complaining about fake hype any good, is it? If I actually do start fake hyping kills.
360 no scope as he goes into the site.
Aster in the meanwhile gonna underarm nade short. There are 2 players here though from the Frenchman, with Kenny S going up mid on Arch. Jacob gonna be going through on the CT side. Liaz down to 59. Kenny S though once again with his AK-47 uses it to crack open the head of Gratisfaction, as his position is so solid considering there's a player in pit as well, and Azza, perfect timing, slaps aside Jackson, Shocks, and Renegades. That's what they were looking for. First CT round.
I feel like G2 were stuck at lane for like 50 seconds. Just never could push forward. They were trying to nade pit. They knew that Azza was on top of the site because Kenny S wrapped Arch side. Just could not get any of the frags to go their way. Well held by Renegades on lane. Again, showing you some of that CT prowess that we saw earlier today against Fnatic, which helped them get here to this very moment, a chance to still make the playoffs. That is what's on the line for these 2 teams here and now over in Group B. This time, G2 Esports picking up the pace, want to do something faster again. Look out for Shots and Jax to be the ones really leading the charge alongside Kenny S.
Only onto short, cordon off that area while the rest of G2 try and expose arches. As it did land a dink onto Lucky, but it's not enough to thwart him or the rest of the attack. And Liaz, he's had so many sick M4 plays, so many good AK plays. The fact he gets 3 there is so damn good, and it gives his team a chance. In this round, Jacob actually has the advantage in terms of health. He's going to be playing the long con, getting back round into library. Amanek has no idea where he is.
No,
doesn't have control of the bomb either.
All he knows is that Jacob normally plays B and would have had to rotate from there, but which direction Jacob took to get back to A, he has no clue. As you noted, Liaz with such a sick spray down on that moto wrap.
Jacob peeks. Could be to his demise. There's still time. Amanek doesn't have to rush in just yet. He's trying to make as little noise as possible. Does now have a smoke. Could easily toss that across. He's seen Jacob. Smoking him off. Gonna try and retrieve the bomb. Jacob pushes out. Only 3 bullets left for Amanek. Molotov goes down. Won't stop him from getting the bomb. Won't stop the plant. There are a couple more chapters to be written yet in round 20. Both players similar HP, and Amanek finds the head. G2 13-7 in the lead. Such a nice try by Liaz, though.
Oh, absolutely. You got to give him a ton of credit, but also give a ton of credit to Amanek. At first, when he got on this team, he was kind of struggling to fit in, but he has been getting better and better as each game passes. He was quite good for them at DreamHack Tour, where they narrowly missed out on a finals appearance on home soil, losing, I think it was the Valiants in the semifinals at that tournament. That's what we've really been waiting for. Like, what can G2 show us? Because, again, they had some flashes of brilliance at Tour, but wound up falling short against Valiants. They did manage to win their EPL group just before that against Fnatic and Na'Vi, actually. That was really big from them to make the EPL finals. Then it was big for them to qualify for this event, to have a crack at a Tier 1 tournament, knocking out some, decent teams like Heroic and Avangard and such on their way to Dallas. And so we want to see them really reach that potential that you feel like a Shox and Kenny S team should be able to meet.
So 3 UMPs for the boys. Do have sniper rifle, the AWP in the hands of Gratisfaction. But so does Kenny S. He's a pretty tantalizing prospect on Dust 2, which is coming up next. See those AWPers duke it out against each other.
It's not for Renegades, man. G2 are a super dangerous Dust 2 team. They're not in for a good time there, I don't think.
Well, whiff smoke as Gratisfaction got blocked just before he threw it. We've all been there. We all know that pain. 3-player stack in mids. Lucky watching down. Banana's got to be careful. Mac 10 at this range. It's an AWP. You're going to be dead. But fortunately, he does jump peek that, as opposed to shoulder peek it.
There's a 4-man stack here now, though. JKS has been able to rotate as well because they're just relying on Gratisfaction's opt to anchor that B-bomb site. It's going to make it harder for G2 to run these rat plays as they have before with Jackson Shox. It's not going to be as easy to entry. Kenny S, though, such a good opper. Going to be here trying to help them at lane. But so far, smoke's in their faces. They're not finding any entries. They're getting slowed down. They're running out of time, Vince.
They're running out of time. They've got to get in here right now and get some entries. And Lucky's going to do just that with the Mac 10. Here comes Amanek. Perched up on balcony. Azza and Liaz still control pit. This is their house. Bomb gets planted. This is where the dynamic of the round shift against Renegades. This is where the positions of pit no longer is as viable. Gratisfaction are going to lend them a helping hand. Kenny S moves in with his AWP. This could be massive from Kenny. He's already got one. There's a second straight through the gap of the hay bales. What a hold by G2. Now the commanding lead.
G2 running low on time, but they were able to get into the site. It was a bit of a double-edged sword. They smoke wall to block off the 2 players that were pit so they could get access to site. That's great, but all that means is you got to deal with it later. And you saw the threat it posed. Liaz and the player with the UMP in pit also finding a kill, making it tough on G2. But Kenny S, the closer, comes in to surpass 20 kills on the map. And look at this, Renegades are in a 4-spot to survive scenario for the rest of the game, trying to challenge G2 for map point. Shots to Max in, looking to farm. He gets one. Jacob at least trades, but he's in trouble.
Also in trouble. He has to back away. He's by himself. He's got a smoke and gonna have to toss that down now. Still so much time to play with. Does this force Liaz into an aggressive play out of pit? We know he likes to play stationary there and static, and he's a very good pit player.
Yeah.
It's understandable why he would start to move out of this, because Asa knows that he's incredibly outmatched if they push B. But now G2 are making a move back onto the site that sees 2 of the 3 Renegades players making their last stand. They've decided against it, taking the bomb back into Banana. Amanek is going to put out the feelers, see if he can find any information. If he comes around the corner and finds both of them, even if he dies, that will be the green light to push B. To make matters worse for Renegades, as has just rotated, they made the gamble. You have to in these kind of scenarios. You can't hold it against them. But the result is going to be G2 getting onto the site, more than likely steamrolling over Azza, getting a plant and getting a 15-7 lead. It'll take something truly Herculean at this point from Azza or one of the other Renegades players to get this round clutch. Kenny S is locking down Banana. Azza has found one, but he's gone down instantly. They know where the last player is, and Kenny S gonna pull the trigger regardless of the flashbang. 8 map points now for the Frenchman.
It's a dominant half from G2. This big CT side Renegades had earlier today has not come to fruition here. They've only won 1 round so far in the 7 played. Obviously, part of that's losing pistol and having the save, sure, but they've had a couple opportunities with rifles and they've fallen short. A couple of rounds were very close, came down to 1v1s, but G2 have played a clean T side. They have been very much on top of things here. Good to see that they just have a more refined T side, Vince. I know before they were often critiqued for just being too reliant on loose, aggressive play. Yes, they can still be explosive, but there's a method to the madness now. The team plays a lot better. The roles seem to make more sense. Getting shots more active in early round situations has been a breath of fresh air that I feel like makes this team way more potent for entry work. It's not just Kenny S's AWP, it's also Shox' spikes.
Double peek again into apps. But elsewhere, it's looking bleak. The curtain coming down on Inferno, shielding Renegades off from their choice of map, and Dust2 is up next. As you say, it's a bastion. It really is a brutal map when facing against G2. It's not looking good for this best of 3. Gratisfaction has a 1v3 stacked against him. He has just tagged Kenny S down to 5, and Jack's not much more on 6 HP. Got a kit and a flashbang. Just be double checking that no one is lurking in ruins. But it does mean he's going to be peeking from garden, which is a very close-knit angle. Even if he were to land the kill, the event crack potential is so high, and Shox not going to let him get a kill to start off with. 16-7, confident. Kenny S on 27 kills with 91 ADR. He is certainly finding some form once again.
Indeed he is, Vince. That is now 1 map to the good of G2, 1 map closer to the playoffs, and Renegades 1 map closer from falling out of this tournament. I am Dustin. With me has been Vince. You can hit /cast chat if you want to give us a follow, but while you do that, we need to step away from it. But we'll come back, and when we do, we'll have the next map for you on Dust 2 between G2 and Renegades. See you shortly.